You've got the look in your eyes. You're on a mission, burning ambition. You've got your eyes on the prize. You've gotta rise to the challenge. Show 'em what you got. Set them to take what's yours. You are kings now, curse of titans.
Hey everyone, this is Anthony with Tornado Tag Podcast. We are back for the interview edition, number 12, man. We're grinding through. Once again, full disclosure, these interviews were all done within like a week and a half time. So these are not current. So by the time this airs, some of the things we may talk about, we maybe are like, what? That doesn't make any sense. I'm pulling back the curtain. I'm breaking kayfabe. That's what's happening. If you want to support any of the links that you hear or anything we talk about, the links will be below, whether it be promotions, whether it be merchandise pages, whether it be contact information, so you can do books, or you want to reach out and talk to the interviewer, interviewee. I'm the interviewer, but you can contact me as well. But yeah, we also have merch pages. If you want to buy a t-shirt, stickers, hoodies, we got it all there. Shower curtains. We got it. We got a little bit of everything. We're like Kiss. We're like the Kiss podcast. But all those links are down below too. But on the phone, very excited about this one. You heard us gush over him about our car ride home episode. Kit Raff on the phone.
You're.
I don't know what you're doing over there. It sounded like you fell down the stairs.
Oh, I was climbing up the stairs. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
To get into my little private office space, so I'm not disturbed by my cat, little kitty Raff.
Little kitty Raff. I actually have I have your kitty on my table. Your sticker. It's actually
nice. Oh yeah. I forgot I gave you one of those.
Yep, I have it right above my uncanny blue and gold sticker.
Nice.
Yeah.
Above it. I like it.
Yeah, I have a lot of independent guys on the table. But yeah, so how you been, man?
You sent me a picture of the table before.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
great.
It's insane.
I'm currently sitting in a nice air-conditioned room on this muggy hot day, living my best life.
How has everything been for you
with
the whole COVID?
Honestly, it feels like a nice factory reset for me.
Yeah.
I miss wrestling so much, but I think I really needed the mental timeout for a little bit anyway, before all of this happened. So I'm kind of happy it was kind of like forced upon me.
Yeah.
Trying to look at greener grass,
Absolutely. That's the best thing I always try to tell people. Like, everyone's like, oh, this is so, and I'm like, if you keep thinking negative's going to do nothing but fill your world. You can just look at it positive.
Exactly.
Take it day by day. Realize that if you may have it bad right now and it may suck for you, but there's 1,000 people in the world that would take your problems over theirs. So you got to be a little more positive, uplifting, and keep it moving. But yeah,
that's the difference between achievers and losers, man.
Yep, I cannot wait to get back to wrestling.
Grass.
But
you and me both, buddy.
I got to see you at the GSW like the return show or the homecoming show. I'm not exactly sure how to term it, but it was an absolute blast. The talent that was on that roster, I've never seen, I would say 80% of that roster. And I felt like I fell into that story, all those storylines and everything they were trying to put out to me immediately. Like it grabbed me right away. Everybody was super talented, and it made me want more. It really did. I hope it's something that keeps running. I can't wait to go see stuff at True, because that arena is cool. That little like warehouse, that's so cool. Like, so it just opened us up to a whole new area of wrestling, because I've only really got to experience 2 promotions, but it made me want more.
Yeah, man. GSW. You were telling me kind of before we started that you only really got into this like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, as a podcast team. Yeah,
which is as like indie stuff, but it's a shame because. I've been doing GSW shows since I started wrestling in 2014. And just Brad DeMeo was the booker, and that man has such an amazing mind. on booking shows and like how to present them from top to bottom. Like every show always felt like it meant something with GSW, and that's why it was always my favorite company to work for. Still is, even if they may never run the show again. Who knows? But
yeah,
that'll probably forever be the best company I've worked for, just because of like the passion that the guys behind the scenes really put into the work or put into the show every month.
Yeah. Now, where exactly are you located out of? Like, where are you living?
Currently, right now, I'm back in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I was just I just actually moved back from Sacramento, California. I was out there for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm. I try to put that out there.
Way too hot, way too expensive.
Yeah, I always try to put that out there because if other promotions that do follow us and listen to us, which I'm very grateful for, is like, man, I like this guy, I'd like to book him. I always try to put that out there, like, oh, this person could be from Maryland, this person could be from Delaware. You know what I mean?
Let me say, just for any promotion that is listening, Kit Raff is not afraid to do the drives. You know, I was living out in California, and I have a tag partner, Keita Murray. We were mainly just doing tag stuff out there, and we'd work for a company down in Arizona, Cactus League Wrestling.
That's a great name.
And they would run shows amazing. That's the second best company I've ever worked for sure. They would run shows Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They'd run a show Friday in Tempe, Arizona. They'd do a show Saturday in Phoenix, and then they'd do another show on Sunday in Tempe.
Wow.
And that was a 13-and-a-half-hour drive with 8 other wrestlers in a minivan. 13-and-a-half hours. So
that's
any
nuts.
promotions out there, if you're down in Florida, I will drive to you.
Good. That's good to hear. And listen, he's worth every penny. I've seen him work. He's super, super talented.
I appreciate that.
With that being said, when did you get into pro wrestling? What's your earliest memory where you caught the bug?
Bad Blood 1997 was the first time I'm one of those kids who my older cousin was obsessed. So she ordered the pay-per-view, and I just kind of strolled along and sat in front of it, and I watched Taker and Shawn Michaels in the Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
And that was
the debut of Kane.
Yes. And Kane is single-handedly the only reason why we are even having this conversation on the phone right now, because that man I was so enthralled by him immediately. So my whole childhood was just Kane. I didn't care about anything but Kane. I thought Kane was the greatest superhero on earth, because that's what he was.
Or I think you're
I was
cutting it out a little bit there.
I thought The Undertaker was so scary.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. No, you're good. It's good now. Yep. Perfect.
All right. I was saying, I was so afraid of The Undertaker. I remember watching him just beat the piss out of Shawn Michaels, and I was like 3 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so scary. And then this big red guy came down and just absolutely made him his bitch in like 5 seconds. And I was just like, all right, that's my guy.
That's gotta be Kane. That's gotta be Kane.
1997 Bad Blood. That's gotta be Kane.
Oh my God, I remember that.
I was just a fan ever since.
I was a Shawn mark, man. Anything Shawn did, I was about it. I was an HBK dude through and through. But I remember that was what was the other match? There was another big match on that card too. Oh my God, I'm trying to remember what it was. One that I mean, it's hard to say that stuck with me. You said Bad Blood 97, right?
Yeah. I can't remember, honestly. That's like the only match, because that's the only match I saw at the time. I didn't watch the whole show that day.
Okay.
I just remember like it was in the middle of that match when I sat down, and I just kind of got sucked in.
That's what it was.
And I'm pretty sure that was the main.
Yep. So here's where I remember this now too. I'm actually wearing the T-shirt. So that was I believe that pay-per-view as well was the Intercontinental Championship tournament finals, and it was Owen Hart versus Farouk, and Owen Hart won the title that night. Yep.
I'm fact checking, but I'm pretty sure you are right.
Yeah.
Yes,
oh my,
you're right.
I have it pulled up here too. The Bret Hart and Bulldog beat the Patriot and Vader. Mm-hmm. Boy, that was the co-main event. Jesus Christmas.
The real Patriot. Sorry, Tom.
Fun fact: the Patriots' music was Kurt Angle's music.
Oh, Yes, I knew that.
Yeah, yo, yeah,
Brodus Clay's was Ernest the Cat Miller's.
Yep.
There you go. Fun facts.
Yeah, that's a great starting point. My first pay-per-view that my parents actually bought was Razor Sean ladder match. That was my first pay-per-view that I was able to purchase. We had a guy who had a box, and he would bootleg everything for us. So, and then I forced my parents.
They had two ladder matches, didn't they? Didn't they have one at Mania and one at SummerSlam?
This was the Mania one, the unification belt match.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I was alive yet.
No. How old are you?
25.
25. Yeah,
Just turned 25.
I'm 33. I got a little bit on you.
Yeah, not too bad.
So, after that pay-per-view, was that something that always kind of stuck with you, or like?
Yeah, man. After that pay-per-view, I was 100% sucked in. I would watch Raw every single Monday night, and then I believe they had ECW on TNN. I think it was Tuesdays, and I would just watch that with my older cousin every single week, and it got to the point where I started asking for the toys. I started asking for the VHS tapes. Like I didn't care about anything besides professional wrestling as a child. Like if you came to a birthday party of a little kid Raff and you brought me like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle or something, it would stay in the box. I didn't want it. I just wanted wrestlers. Like I was 100% obsessed as a kid. And I really, the obsession didn't get lifted until probably like 8th or 9th grade. I kind of started getting out of it for a little bit. But even then, only like maybe 2 or 3 years I was out of it, and then I got sucked right back in.
Yep.
Graduated high school, and then just went right to training from there.
Nice. Was it socially acceptable at your school to be a wrestling fan?
It wasn't. It really, it was not. And I think that's why I kind of started to get out of it at first. I started to kind of like fall into the peer pressure of like, that's not cool. Yeah. And then when I was in 11th grade, I met Keita Murray. I don't know if you know him. He used to be a guy around here. He's out in California now. It's actually my tag partner. Mm-hmm. And we just bonded over the fact that like we both just secretly loved wrestling. So as soon as we knew we had another person that loved wrestling, we didn't give a shit. Yeah. Like every single dress down day, it was just like, are you wearing a wrestling shirt to school today? Because I am. I don't want to be alone. So we wear our wrestling shirts to school. That's me in current times.
I have 2 bins full of wrestling shirts, and majority of them are probably independent wrestlers. And people are like, what are you wearing? I'm like, oh, sit down, man. I have a story to tell you.
Oh, yeah. Now I don't care. I wish somebody would say something. But yeah, no, back then, as soon as we found each other and we knew we at least had one other person that loved it as much as we did, it was justified to just openly show how much we loved wrestling from that point on.
Yeah. It's crazy, man, how even to like in today's times, like I went to work the one day and they're like, you still watch that? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, you know it's fake, right? I'm like, are you serious? Wait, what?
That's such a stupid statement to make. Like, yeah, oh, thanks. I didn't know. Way to let me know.
Do you like reality TV? Guess what? All fake.
That's just faker.
Uh-oh, Heidi.
Walter White doesn't actually exist.
You might have to push it back in. She put these stickies up on the wall and for this new curtain she hung up for our set, and the one sticky just popped on her.
Nope.
Yep. All right, she's fixing it now. Looks killing it. Good job, babe. Yeah, and then what was the other? I said, listen, if you don't like wrestling, they're like, no. I'm like, you realize how much cultural influence is in pop culture because of pro wrestling? Like, name a sport, like NBA, NFL, they all do wrestling references. It's all cutting promos. Mixed martial arts, which is a sport that for some reason they hate the fact when a wrestler is involved with it, but when mixed martial arts guys carry over to wrestling, it's like the coolest thing ever. But every single guy, like MMA has turned into pro wrestling. They cut promos on each other. They, you know what I mean? Like, there's got
100%.
What's his name?
Look at Conor McGregor.
Yeah,
Conor McGregor is a pro wrestler that's not a pro wrestler.
Yep. Colby, whatever his name is, the guy who was doing the whole MAGA thing. Like he was like, he was like, I'm a character right now because people hate me and it's getting me into top tier fights. And I was like, good on you. Like people were like, I can't wait for him to die. I'm like, he's killing it. He's a heel right now.
That's the goal.
Yeah,
yep, exactly.
He's doing his thing.
You're emotionally responding exactly the way that he wants you to.
Yep. The media would eat it up. Like Trump went to his fight. Like, and I don't even know if he's supportive. Like, I don't think he's into that Trump as much as he lets on. And maybe he is. Maybe I'm completely reading it wrong.
I mean, I'm sure that there's a high chance he is a Trump guy, but like, it's for clout. Everything's for clout.
Yeah, could you imagine if he wasn't even a Trump supporter, but he was like,
that'd be hilarious.
He's like, dude,
look at Kanye.
The dude showed up. Yeah, it's all starting to come out that was all bullshit just to get his.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I fucking love Kanye even more.
Guys, it's seeming like it is.
Which is fucking genius, because it just proved that all you have to do is play in Trump's ego, and you can get whatever you want out of him.
Exactly.
I love you so much. That's right. You do love me. All right, let's steer off this conversation before we lose everybody else.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So you said you went straight from high school into training. What was that process like? Were you because that's a lot of things with people like. From hearing other interviews where guys are like, I drove like 4 hours to go to school because I never knew there was one right next to me. Well, today's times are a little different. You can just type in Google and say pro wrestling schools around me, but it might have been a little different for you. So what was your experience with that?
Actually, not really. So I was with my girlfriend at the time, and we were watching some pay-per-view. The network had just came out. I don't even think it was out for like a full month yet. And we were watching something, and they referenced an indie show. And like I knew what independent wrestling was, quote unquote, but I've never actually seen it before. Like, I couldn't name you any indie guys. Yeah. I didn't know any promotions. But I was like, I remember as a kid seeing random indie wrestling show posters like in downtown Scranton that have like Nunzio on it or something. I was like, I wonder if any of that's going around. I'd like to go to a show, just see what it's about, whatever. So I Googled independent wrestling show, Scranton, Pennsylvania. And the first thing that popped up was the Backbreakers Training Center website, which is the wrestling school I went to. And it was like located in Scranton, PA for over 20 years. It's just like, there's been a fucking wrestling school in my town that I've also lived in for over 20 years. And I didn't know about, or not even 20 years yet. I was only 19. But I was just amazed. I didn't know that there was a wrestling school in my town. So immediately I sent the link over to Kita, who also, wanted to do this eventually. And it was right before WrestleMania 30. They had kind of like an open tryout for the school. You'd go there, the trainer, Justin Glory, he would just kind of give you like a smorgasbord of what you would be doing in the training course, just to see if you could handle it. And if you passed the tryout, like if you're physically able to do everything, he would take $400 off of the total tuition that you had to pay to go to the school.
That's a cool move.
So I was like, cool. Yeah, he still does it currently. Like
if you come mentally prepared that you can handle the physical part of it, I like that a lot. Yeah, and I mean it's a healthy discount too. Like I don't know if he's doing the same exact discount he did for us back then, but I remember back then it was $400 off. And $400 is a lot of money to a 19-year-old. Do you remember everybody that was in your class?
Yes.
How many are still stuck around?
Just one. Well, besides me and Kita, just one.
Okay.
It was me, Kita, Johnny Moran, Dan Blazer, who was World Class Blaze Daniels like years ago. And I cannot remember the third guy's name. He was only around for like a couple days. Moran,
we got to have him on the show. He's episode number 2 overall. Great guy. I love Moran.
That's my man. Moran, I guess he started training there, I think like a year or so before I started, but then he fell off. Like, I don't know what happened. So he had to kind of get retrained from there in our group. But yeah, it's literally just me, Kita, and him. We're the only ones from our class that actually
Kita,
are still...
is that the dude that comes out with the big headdress on and stuff? Am I thinking of somebody else?
No, you're thinking no. You're thinking of Kakoa.
Kakoa, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, Kita. Me and Kita started out as a tag team, like when we first started doing shows. We've been tagging for like 5 years as the Impeccables. Kita does like the 90s Nickelodeon gimmick. He comes out with the orange soda, all that Kita Murray. He's really found himself out in the West Coast more than he was out here, but you would love Kita.
Everybody
loves Kita.
The orange soda thing sounds fantastic. You said, is it Kita Murray?
Kita Murray, yeah. We actually, me and him, because that's who I lived with out in California for the 2 years. We were doing work out there together. And we actually got invited to a live studio taping of all that because of his gimmick.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we were doing a show down in Los Angeles, and we were both on the card, but we weren't doing tag stuff that night. So he was doing like his singles gimmick, which is like the 90s shit.
Yeah.
And the one of the Booker's brother's wife, is best friends with the hype man for the All That tapings. So she saw his gimmick, emailed this guy, he emailed Kita, and invited me and him down there. So we got to go down there, see a live taping, and then
awesome.
After we saw the live taping, it gets better. After we saw the live taping, we actually got to do a little promo with Kel Mitchell.
Oh my God. That's sick.
So right now,
that was my childhood. I was an SNL kid,
Mm-hmm.
and then I found out that SNL had its own version of a show for a kid my age, and I ate that shit up.
Yep. So we are I believe, the first people in wrestling to do any sort of wrestling promo with Kel before the New Day, mind you.
Yeah.
Because I know they just did stuff with him.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome that you like those three names obviously are still doing some stuff. I just looked up his Facebook page. Like, yeah, he's got some gold around his waist over in the promotion he's at now, which is a gorgeous belt, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? The green one?
Yeah.
It's from Pro Championship Wrestling up in NorCal. Another amazing promotion.
Yeah, that's like
dropping names there.
That's a great title belt. That's a very impressive looking title belt. I'm a fan of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you get
most
done.
Most of the belts out there are beautiful like that.
Yeah. So you now just to kind of let's talk a little more about backbreakers there, man. I never knew about backbreakers until obviously I'm still a year and a half into this podcasting and really diving into the indie scene. But so many people have came out of that school that like are very impressive. So that's definitely one of the promotions we want to go to once the whole pandemic is over, and definitely tap into that and let people know, because hey, we have a lot of younger people that listen to our shows. And a lot of them want to become wrestlers, and that's a great place. One of many places they can go to train. That's another thing I want to try to put out there is you got places like Backbreakers, you have PPW's training facility, you have the Dungeon that leads to Outbreak, and that's only 3 that I know. But the more I can put out there for people to do, it's gonna open the doors for more people to come up through the ranks.
Yeah, man. It's a fantastic school. I wouldn't have done anything without them. Justin Glory is a really good trainer. He's very meticulous with how he trains. Everything is extremely slow, because he wants to make sure you have your basics before he sends you out there. Like he won't send anybody out there unless he thinks they're actually prepared to handle it.
Yeah.
So I like that. Not only just Backbreakers, I got training at Backbreakers. I also got training up at the Sanctuary in Hazleton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I lied. I do know a fourth one, the Sanctuary as well. Yeah.
I pretty much like Backbreakers gave me my start for sure. I do consider the Sanctuary to be like my finishing school. Mm-hmm. So it's just both fantastic places. So if you are listening to this and you do want to train to be a wrestler, I cannot recommend a place more so than the Sanctuary or Backbreakers Training Center, depending on where you are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah, 2 great places, man. The Northeast Pennsylvania is just a good melting pot for professional wrestling, and people come up here too. People travel from Maryland and Delano to wrestle in these promotions in Pennsylvania. So we're doing something right up here. The promotions are doing something. So yeah, do you remember your first match after training?
Yeah.
Who was your...
My first match was actually...
Go ahead.
Kita.
Oh, okay.
It was against Kita. Yeah, we started together. We had our first match together. He kicked my tooth out of my face.
During the first match?
Yeah, unsafe bitch. Funny story about that. He likes to spin it like it's my fault. And I guess, whatever. I guess it kind of is. But Kita, for the record now, throws a fantastic drop kick. But when we first started, he wanted to do this drop kick, and it just wasn't good. Like he didn't get high enough. Most of the time he'd like kick me like in my abdomen or something. Like it looked like shit, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. And we were it was our first match, so it's not like how we prepare for a match now, you know. It's not like I show up to the venue, I might not even know who my opponent is. We talk about it for 20 minutes and then we do it. This was our first match, so we were in the school rehearsing it step by step for like a month prior. And Keita wanted to throw this drop kick, and I said he just couldn't. It was bad. So the day of the match, I told him, I was like, Keita, listen to me. If you're gonna throw this drop kick, throw the fucking drop kick. Please don't, kick me in my abs or anything. Just make it look good. It's our first match. He said, all right, I got you. So Keita jumps up in the air, boom, claps me right in the mouth, kicks, broke half my tooth completely off.
A front or a side, or what?
Horrible.
What are we?
It was on the side.
They're hideable.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, no, I actually have 2 missing teeth now. They're both the same tooth on each side, and they both were taken out via wrestling. Yeah. The other one was Mike Skyros.
I'm missing 2, and they were taken out due to a cheeseburger. And I'm pretty happy about that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fat,
that's
so
different.
We'll just say I got drop kicked by a cheeseburger. Yeah.
There you go, man.
Yeah, I guess whoever made the burger put a really, really like a stone piece of bacon on it, and it literally it took 2 teeth out. Yeah, I wasn't happy.
One time I was chewing a piece of Starbucks gum, and it ripped out one of my fillings somehow.
Oh, horrible.
Maybe I just got weak teeth. I don't know.
That's probably what it is. It's the water up in Northeast Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And every Northeast Pennsylvania's gimmick is iced tea, so that doesn't help us either.
Oh, see, I'm not an iced tea person.
Oh, Gears iced tea is like my life out here in School County.
I can't do it. I like the watermelon flavored Arizonas. That's my addiction.
I'm a peach tea guy. If I can find a peach tea, I'm all about it.
See, I'm the most anti-peach person in the world.
Oh,
I just the taste of like peach flavored things. I don't mind actual peaches.
Yeah.
Peach flavored things. Oh.
Well, this interview was fun. We'll see you guys next time. Nice. So, so your first match out. Now, when you're going through your process there, who are some notable things, or maybe like I say notable matches, or like this? I don't know the terminology. So I say I'm still very green to this, but like when your first name maybe you wrestled. Because like when we say like a name, like when someone comes in that was established in a company and then comes to an independent.
No, you got that right.
Yeah,
you got that right.
I don't pretend to be anything I'm not, ladies and gentlemen.
The first name I ever worked with was Shane Douglas.
His name has been around for a lot of people. A lot of people appear's first match was Shane Douglas.
I'm sure Trajan brought him up too.
Yeah. Somebody else did too.
No, I didn't wrestle him. I actually worked with him. We did. It was for Big Time Wrestling in Scranton, down at the old CYC. Mm-hmm. I think it's like the Lackawanna College. It's where Lackawanna College plays basketball now.
Yeah.
But super historic building for wrestling. A lot of crazy shit happened there.
Shane Douglas is very historic.
Shane Douglas, yes. It was me, Shane Douglas, and Johnny Moran versus the Xer guys.
Okay.
Super fun, super easy 6-man. I was the smallest guy between Shane Douglas and Johnny Moran, so I obviously just get the shit kicked out of me.
I think
like
Johnny Moran's
minutes.
story was they told him that night that he's working with this guy named Shane and didn't know who Shane was until he walked into the locker room. And he was like, it's fucking Shane Douglas.
Yep. Yeah, no, they didn't tell us that we were working with Shane Douglas. Like, I didn't know either until we were all in the locker room. Yeah. It was like, oh, okay. It's a franchise. Got you.
I thought it was just some scrub named Shane.
Yeah. So that was the first name I worked with. And then pretty recently, too, me and Keita got to work Crime Time last fall. Yeah. So, with everything that happened recently with Shad Gaspard, God rest his soul. It was really, really cool to be able to work with them. Especially like we were down in LA, middle of the night, like the arena. It was a literal auditorium, packed crowd, fun match. Those guys are just absolute pros, and they really tested us that day. Yeah. Really, really tested us. And we passed with flying colors for sure.
Did you get gorilla pressed by Shad?
I didn't get gorilla pressed, but he gave me the longest stalling vertical suplex I believe that I will ever take in the wrestling business. That's awesome. I feel like he just held me upside down for like 2 fucking minutes.
When he passed away, we tried to do a little like remembrance for him on the podcast. We used to do topics every week, and we would pick a wrestler and do a topic. It is something we want to bring back, but we just go so long on what happened during the week, we kind of don't have time for it. We're gonna try to bring it back in maybe a different aspect, but we did a mini topic on Shad. And one of the cool things, we're not only wrestling fans, but we're video game fans. The brand new God of War game that just came out, Shad's body was actually Kratos. They modeled Kratos' body off of Shad Gaspar. Yeah.
He actually did a lot of the motion capture for it too. Yeah, a lot of it. So like most of the movements in that game is him as well.
It's fantastic.
That dude was super talented, man. Super talented.
And then they just took Triple H's face and put it on the body, and then that's God of War. That was the new Kratos. That's not the second part's not true, but it looked like Triple. It looks like
pretty much, yeah.
But yeah, another dude, if you go online and you look up videos and just interviews with him, does he put people over, man? He was such a good person for the business, and and he saved his kid's life, and unfortunately we lost him, but he was a hell of a dude.
I tell anytime, because the people, especially recently, have been asking me about this match and just like how was it, calling a match with them, this, that, and the third. I'm not gonna lie, Shad. Initially, I understand now what he was doing, but initially Shad came off very, very standoffish to us. But it was because he was trying to test us, He was trying to see if we could work with pros. So when we were calling the match, we were out in an alleyway, and Shad was about 25 feet away from us. He wouldn't even call the match with us. He had JTG keep going back and forth. So like JTG would come over to us, and he'd be like, "All right, guys. Shad says he wants to do this, and the third. What do you guys want to do?" We'd tell him, he'd go back over to Shad, tell Shad what he said. He'd come back and be like, "Shad said that's a horrible idea. We should do this, and that instead." And be like, "All right, cool. No big, who are we to tell?"
Absolutely.
So we're like, "All right, yeah, fine." So this is 100% the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done in my life. Where, as I said, it was in an auditorium, this show. So the stage was the actual stage. We'd come out through the curtain, the steps, a little aisleway, ring was right in the middle. So we're all standing in Gorilla. Crime Time was out first because they were cutting a promo, like they were doing like an open challenge thing, and we were supposed to answer it. So their music starts playing. Shad looks at me and Kita, and he says, "Hey guys, you know how I said we're going to do this, and that? Well, actually, I'm going to change all of it. So the new match is blah, 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 blah." He just spit out this whole brand new match as his music's playing. He's like, "You got that? Good." Slaps me on the arm and then walks out to the ring. And I'm just like, holy shit. Like, he just changed everything. So my nerves are like through the roof. Right when we're about to go out, just to make it a little bit, more nerve-wracking, Kita hits me on the shoulder and he's like, "Bro, look over to your left." I look over to my left, and it's Mark fucking Henry, just sitting in a chair, carefully watching the ring. So now, 2 pros who I've been watching on TV since I was literally 10 years old have just completely changed the match from what I thought it was going to be to something completely different.
Mark Henry, a legend.
Mark Henry, world's strongest man, Olympian, Hall of Famer, is watching our match. Like, with purpose. So I was so nervous. I had to go out there and cut a promo, do this whole match. Thankfully, it worked out fine. It's honestly one of my favorite matches that I've ever been a part of now.
Was it video? Like, is it on YouTube or anything for people to watch?
Yeah. There's 2 versions of it, actually. One has a good camera angle and one's kind of like a fan cam.
Yeah.
But the match went off fantastically. They're absolute pros in there. And then afterwards, like I said, like Shad was being a little standoffish at first, but as soon as we were done with that match, he showed us nothing but love. Nothing but love. And he even explains, like, I hope you understand, like, why I was treating you guys the way I was treating you. Like, we need to test people. You're the younger generation coming up in the business. And if we're going to have younger tag teams like you guys, we need to make sure that you're professionals and you can hang with professionals. Mm-hmm. And tonight you proved that you can hang with professionals. So, like, that was a really, really big test for us. And I'm so glad that it happened.
Did you get to pick Mark Henry's ear about your match?
A little bit. I did ask him, I came up and I was like, hey, sir, I was just wondering if you got a chance to see any of our match. Like, I knew we watched it. But,
yeah.
He didn't talk extendedly with us like Shad and JTG did, but he didn't have any bad notes for us. He's like, I really did like what I saw out there. He said he liked our energy a lot. And we came out as heels, and by the end we were baby faces. And he did comment on that. He's like, I like the way you guys were able to come out and they all thought you were pieces of shit and they're cheering you at the end.
Yeah.
So I wish I could have picked his brain a little bit more about it, though. But
he's absolutely fantastic. So if you have Sirius XM radio, I was someone who bought Sirius XM because I'm a Howard Stern fan, and once I discovered Busted Open Radio, I can listen to that on a repeat all day long. It's a fantastic wrestling show. Dave LaGreca and Mark Henry's on a lot. Tommy Dreamer's on a lot. Bully Ray's on it a lot. It's a fantastic wrestling show.
I watched one episode pretty recently. Zicky Dice was on there. She's one of my good friends. Yeah. I just watched it because he was on. But it is. It's really well structured.
Yeah, they do a great job.
I was entertained front to bottom.
Yeah. So literally that Busted Open thing just threw me off there for a second. So anything else, like any wrestling stories or moments you wanna put out there?
Man.
Any good ribs?
Any good ribs? I would have to think about that. Can we come back to that one?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, you hang out with Trajan. I'm sure he's messed with you at least once or twice, right?
My favorite Trajan moment of all time is Trajan thankfully don't mess with me too much, but I've seen him mess with a lot of others.
He's fantastic.
My favorite Trajan moment of all time, we were doing a show at the Sanctuary, and for the record, Trajan had his match and he was done for the night before any of these antics ensued. Just for all the goody two shoes out there. We had a match, whatever. Afterwards, he started drinking wine. And, like, by wine, I just mean, like, a lot of fucking wine. So Trajan's not a drinker, so it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
So Trajan was a little intoxicated, and then he decided to just walk around the entire rest of the night completely with bottoms off, dick out, butt cheeks flapping in the wind.
Nice.
And it made everybody super uncomfortable except for me. But I thought it was
now you
hilarious.
said walking around. He was walking around the back.
Walking around the back, walking around the church, walking around anywhere he could walk around. The fans were all gone. The show was over.
Okay, yeah.
But he no discretion for the boys whatsoever. Which I loved it.
Yeah.
I actually have a picture of that night. It's me. I'm also butt-ass naked, but I'm in a towel because I just finished wrestling. Trajan is just shirt cocking it. And we're arm in arm, and we just have like a 12-pack of we call them Chubby Daddy Lights, a 12-pack of Miller Lights, just hiding his little member.
That's great. Yeah, I'll tell you what. One of the things I'm so grateful for is with the podcast is being invited to promotions, and kind of going back to that night at GCW. We had an idea what we wanted to do, and it just didn't work out. It was just the back was a little tight, and we had our stuff set up, and I was like, just abandon ship, just take everything down, because there's so many people back here, and for us to cut promos and try to get interviews, it wouldn't work. And I don't want to. It just didn't feel right for the environment of the night. People were catching up with one another. It was my first time really in the back in a locker room. I've never been in a locker room situation before, and I was like, I just felt like it was. If I would have started trying to do interviews with people there, I just felt like it would have been a weird vibe, and I just kind of pulled out on it.
Right.
And we did an audible, and we just interacted with other people and said, "Hey, we're here for this and this and this," and we're you know what I mean. And it was just to be even welcomed back there was unbelievable. Like, it was such a cool experience, and just kind of seeing it behind the curtain, it was awesome to experience.
I know that locker room very, very well. Like, I would say like 95% of those guys back there I've been working with since I started.
Yeah.
So I do think that nobody would have minded if
No.
you were to have done that. But the fact that you have that consideration, even because like most guys who do these kind of interviews, they don't think about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I definitely think you would have been welcomed with open arms, but the fact that you even take that into consideration shows a lot. You know, you get a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, it wasn't so much I didn't feel comfortable that it wouldn't be accepted, because I didn't get that vibe at all. But like, that's just how I was saying. It just, I felt like it was a night for everyone to reconnect with one another and stuff, and I was like,
yeah, which it was.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm gonna step back a bit. Tonight's not a night where we'll get any content, but it's not about me getting content. Like, I'm there if it's needed, but it was, I felt like what we really did is we focused heavily on the ride home show, which I thought, I mean, was one of our most listened to go home shows. So,
I loved it.
Yeah, it was really good, but it
not,
was such
not only because you just said really nice things about me. I actually really liked that show from top to bottom.
And that was a show that we went to where we really didn't know anybody. So, you know, remembering names, and Brian does a fantastic job of taking notes the whole show. Like, yeah, Brian's he's like my peanut butter to my jelly. He's fantastic. I love that guy.
I'm just happy you guys I'm happy you guys enjoyed yourselves, because I remember when that show went up, and I saw that it was a review show of the GSW show, and the first thing I thought was just like, oh shit, I hope they don't shit on me.
No, that honestly, man, like you wrestled Adina that night, and I'm very, very high on Adina. I've seen her wrestle now probably like 8 times between PPW and then that night, and she has a fantastic look. She's an absolute sweetheart of a person, and she's still, like, I would say green, right? Like, she hasn't been doing it super long.
No. She's super green. But she has a very, very bright future.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever actually worked with her.
It was my favorite match she's ever been in so far.
Yeah, I agree. Because I've seen some of her other matches. Not to, I'm not throwing shade, but I agree. I think I really did bring the best out of her that night.
Yeah.
And she brought the best out of herself. She followed me very, very well. Because that's what that match really was. It was, this is what we should do. And she followed along, and she did absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm
very happy with that match.
I seen her tag with Rhino and Fox Viner. That was a great match. I seen her work Adina. I seen her do multiple like 4-way matches with the other female stars. But that night, man, she the one German suplex in that match was unreal. I was like, holy shit.
Well, I had a goal. I really did have like a goal for that match. She was kind of talking to me before. She said every intergender match she's ever done besides that one, it was always like the same formula. Like, I'm a guy, you're a girl, therefore I'm stronger than you, and I'm not going to take you seriously. And I hate that so much.
I'm not a fan of that either.
Especially in our business, man. Like, we all know it's a work, okay? It's 2020. We all know the big secret. So I would rather tell the story of her being my equal,
Yeah.
Because that's what I saw her as. She's I don't see the gender. I see another competitor. I want to win. She wants to win. That's the story I wanted to tell, and I think we really did tell that story.
Yeah.
And she even thanked me afterwards for, treating her just like another opponent and not like a women's wrestler. You know what I mean?
That was one of my questions when she was on our show earlier. Like, when we did one of those ones we squeezed her in, I was like, she was being very polite, but like, as someone who watches like matches and they do the intergender, like, when I watched Lucha Underground and Sexy Star came out and they were like, I'm like, oh, they're going to treat her like a girl. And then Chavo smashed her with a chair. I was like, this is my new favorite promotion. Not because he hit a woman with a chair. It's because, so WWE has this thing where they don't do men hitting women because they don't want to promote domestic violence, which I'm for.
Right.
Like, if that's your stance, then
which
good.
I get, because they have, the audience they have, I understand.
Yes. But on the same token, WWE also is absolutely 110% cool when women hit men. So if that's your stance, then you just threw it out the window. You know what I mean?
You're right.
And so it's like, oh, so domestic violence isn't real if it's the other way around. I don't agree with that. You know what I mean? So when a company just says we're doing a match and they don't even book it as intergender, or they have a promotion where they say we have a heavyweight championship, and we don't even have a women's division championship because everyone's equal to one another. I dig that. Like Tessa Blanchard winning the championship in Impact was awesome to me. That was super cool. It's groundbreaking. It's awesome. It's really it's important. So when I asked her the question, like, do you ever go into matches and like where they kind of hold back on you and they don't really hit you as if they were to hit a guy, or they don't stiff you, like, you know what I mean? She goes, sometimes, like, but for the most part, I guess people try to treat me the same, and I was like, I think she's being sweet. You know what I mean?
I think she was being sweet too.
Yeah, because that match when you guys, you went out there and like for a good portion of the match, you kicked the shit out of her, and it kind of like the crowd was just kind of going back to that match with Chad that I've never seen, but just hearing you talk about it, this is a great example of that too, where people were hating on you. You were the heel, but you were beating the garbage out of a girl, so you had to rewire the crowd's brain to say no, she's not a girl. If I don't do it to her, she's gonna do it to me. And then once you guys start telling the story, and she started doing it back, and then at the end of the match, you guys shook hands and like showed embrace to one another. The whole place was you told a story on top of putting on a fantastic match, and that's why, in my opinion, like that was the match of the night, is because you literally rewrote the brains of everyone that was in that audience that night. Like Adina wasn't just a female wrestler; she was a wrestler, and it was a hard fought victory over a very talented opponent, and you guys just both came off amazing in that match.
Thank you. I really do appreciate you saying that. That was the goal. You know, that was 100% my goal of that match.
Yeah.
I wanted to get her over, but I wanted to get her over as a wrestler. You know, and I do really feel like I did that job. I couldn't have done it without her, obviously.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, we both had a goal that night, and we definitely met it.
Yeah. And even like being allowed to be in the back and kind of hearing, like not really hearing, but seeing how you guys worked and talked to each other before the match. And then I remember kind of sneaking in the back right before the match happened, and just like everyone crowded around them. Like that was another cool experience too. I've never had a locker room where there was a monitor in the back and everyone kind of crowded around the monitor watching a match. Like just that small stuff as a fan, like, and kind of seeing it from the other perspectives is awesome. And just as someone, I'm not a journalist. I don't want to consider myself a journalist, but just to kind of give that point of view, but not give too much away, because that's another thing too. Like, there's things about wrestling that fascinate me. How you call a match, how you're saying we call a match, but there's more to that than that. There's a science to it, and for me, I don't want to put too much of that out there, because there's still an illusion and there's still magic behind pro wrestling, and I think some things shouldn't be out to everybody. And I may learn them, but that's not something that I would give away to people. Like they're still, I feel like as a wrestling fan, I want to be in the dark as much as possible. So when I go to a show, there's been times where they're like, hey, do you want to know who wins tonight? I'm like, nope. And they're like, why? I'm like, because I don't want to, like, I want to keep that illusion.
Yeah, that would literally defeat the purpose of even going.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times too, they're like, well, we're going to do these interviews, so we want you to do these interviews, so maybe if you know who's going to win, you could prepare yourself more. I'm like, no, I'm going to prepare my content by what they do in that ring that night. And they're like,
that would be like if fucking Avengers Endgame opened with, hey, by the way, everyone's going to come back at the end.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Enjoy the next 2.5 hours.
But yeah, it's just a beautiful, it's a beautiful, like, I don't know. I just love it. It's a great sport. I know some people get upset when you say that, but I don't care. It's great sports entertainment if it makes you feel better. But it's just, I don't know. It's like a magic trick, man. It's just that there's some of that stuff behind it is awesome. And sometimes people watch a match and they lose focus to a lot of that too. They just see, that match, you know what I mean? But yeah.
Well, I mean, the point I always like to bring up with a lot of people, because I always get the argument of like, wrestling was so much better when I was a kid. When I was a kid, everything was better. And like, honestly, sure. The product, it was a little bit better back in the day.
But you were also very clouded to it.
Exactly. The real reason why I believe a lot of people stick with that argument of like it was better when I was a kid, it's because you didn't know anything besides there are two guys on TV and they're trying to fucking beat each other, and one's a bad guy and one's a good guy, and you want the good guy to win, blah, blah, blah. That's all you knew.
Yeah.
You didn't know, who had backstage heat and whose contract was running up and shit like that. You didn't know that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's why it used to be so much more enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, like, for when I go back and watch the Attitude Era, I think, man, my generation growing up had some of the best mic works, like, and promos of all time. Mm-hmm. Like Macho Man and Shawn Michaels and all and like The Rock and Stone Cold and Jericho. Mic work, on point. But today's generation of wrestler, it's the in-ring work blows that away. Like blows
100%.
blows that stuff away. To storytelling, maybe not, but I think a lot of it has to do with they don't let them tell stories as much as they should in today's wrestling.
I agree. I think it's a mix of two things. Like I consider like I'm a younger guy. You know, I'm 25 years old. But in wrestling, I kind of consider myself to have a bit of like an old school mentality with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a mix. You know, there's a lot of guys who, the spot fest guys, we'll call them, super kick, super kick, leg slap, moonsault, whatever. Nothing makes sense. No selling everything. It's just an acrobatic showcase of bullshit, pretty much. But some people like it, and there's nothing wrong with people liking that.
Yeah.
So I feel like there are certain wrestlers though who capitalize on that kind of, we'll call it like a flavor of ice cream.
Yep.
Wrestling has so many different flavors of ice cream. There are certain guys who can capitalize on that, like Ace Austin, who's a really good friend of mine. He is athletic as fuck, and that's why he's on TV. He's decent on the mic, but he's on TV because he can do the flips and the kicks, and it all looks awesome. Fantastic.
His character building has gotten fantastic since he's been on Impact, though.
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
Oh yeah, they're treating him right.
Yeah.
They're treating him right. I'm really that's one guy I'm really happy to see having success because he wholeheartedly 100% deserves it.
Yep, I agree. I think he'll be champion soon. This is my prediction.
Oh yeah, if I hope so. I really do.
Because they've been teasing him and Tessa for a while. I think he's the one to take the belt off Tessa. That's my future prediction.
That would be great.
Yep.
You know, I've known Ace literally since he started, and I know very few people in this business that work harder than him. Like I'll go on the record. That's my boy. He's younger than me, but he inspires the ever living shit out of me.
Yeah.
For real.
He's huge.
Nobody works harder.
Not super tall, but he has legs like a running back.
Oh, I know.
His quads I remember watching him around. I was like, holy shit, dude! He has tree trunks for quads. He's like huge.
Yep. And he never used to look like that too. It's crazy. Like if you saw what Ace Austin looked like when I met Ace Austin,
yeah,
they looked like two completely different human beings. He looked like Napoleon Dynamite. And that's not an exaggeration at all. Like if you go on his Facebook page and just go back, Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah. Yeah, he's super. There's a match that I guess happened at True that I didn't know happened, and I seen photos of it, and I was like, oh my god, that would be a match I'd love to see. Deppen versus Ice
Which
Austin.
one was that? Oh, that was kind of recently.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they worked more than once, but I know they worked in February. I'm pretty sure it was before that
great.
GSW show.
Yeah,
it was insane. Well, I mean, Deppen's another one of the most talented guys I know. For sure. He's going to get his eventually, too. For sure.
His facial expressions in the ring are like Adam Cole level. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Amazing. And he's so incredibly talented. Like, I hate putting him over because he's a little shithead, but...
That's what everyone says. He's like, he's such a dick, but he's a good guy. He's a good guy, but he's a dick.
He is. He's 100% a dick, but he is a really good person.
And he makes great
like, if you
fucking
work
beer.
with him, he's going to... Yes, I have not had any, but I know a lot of people who have had. I haven't heard anything negative yet.
I'm actually wearing his brewery's hat right as we speak. Pillaroo Brewing Company. Good.
Nice.
If you're a fan of Deppen and his wrestling work, you should also check out his brewing company that he works with two of my buddies. Pillaroo Brewing Company. They're going to be opening up a business or a building in Pottsville, Pennsylvania, hopefully soon. And they also run this is a quick shameless plug here. They also run a brew fest in downtown Pottsville called Schuylkill County Brew Fest, and it's a brew fest wrestling experience. So when I say by that is all the breweries get together and make a beer for that day, and then whoever shows and pays their admission, they get to vote on the beer of the night. And then whatever gets the most votes, they get to take home a championship title belt.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then they have another one around Thanksgiving called Brewsgiving, and they get breweries to team up with each other and make collaboration beers. And so it's a tag team tournament, and whoever wins that brewery takes home a tag team title.
That's tight.
Yeah.
I'm all about like anytime pro wrestling gets like mixed into anything like that.
Yeah, so
my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
Pro wrestling themed restaurants.
Listen, I'm all about it. Pro wrestling theme, anything. Just give me another excuse
There's
to buy a
bunch of them out in
t-shirt.
Cali.
Is there really?
Oh yeah, there's so many different like lucha spots all over the state too. Like down in SoCal, NorCal, a bunch of them. There was like a lucha coffee spot that me and Kita used to go to a lot in Sacramento.
That's so cool.
And the ice cubes were like little luchador masks, like little lucha heads. It was awesome.
Now, with your logo with the cat, who did your art?
An artist by the name of Jacob Paul. He, I don't know who else he's done work for besides me and Zicky Dice.
Mm-hmm.
But Zicky came out with a shirt a couple months ago, and it was like him like riding on the back of like a snake on this like mountain of skulls, and it just like
awesome.
had all these cool ass colors. Yeah, and like I had to buy it immediately, and like the artwork just really stuck with me. And so I hit him up. I was like, dude, who is making your shirts? Because holy shit.
Yeah.
And he gave me his info. I found him on Facebook, and he's made 4 designs for me so far. Absolutely fantastic guy to work with. His rates are really, really good, and his turnaround time, for me at least, has been wonderful. I don't think I've ever even waited a full week.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a new logo so we got a new logo for our beer show. Because when I started, I just did like this. I did a microphone and then just the name of the show with a different color scheme, and that was kind of our logo. Because I wanted to show that all the shows were part of the same family. But I think now, coming up on 2 years, I think it's pretty well known that they're all kind of on the same platform. So now we're kind of changing our logos up. So I'm looking for something new for Tornado Tag. I kind of want
if I can recommend anybody, man, Jacob, for real.
Yeah, what I kind of want is I want like Tornado Tag and then the Bod podcast, but in between that I would like someone getting German suplexed. But what I think I would want is I want a female German suplexing a guy, but the guy to kind of maybe be a luchador style wrestler. So it's kind of incorporating, women wrestling, men wrestling, and then like a lucha mask in there somehow too. I think that'd be a dope ass logo. And if anyone steals that,
just send him that picture.
We're fighting.
If anybody steals that, you said it here now.
Yeah.
Just send him that picture of me and Adina.
Yeah. There you go. Well, honestly, that's where I was kind of inspired by the logo, because I like. If I did a wrestling and it was just like a dude wrestler flexing, or 2 dude wrestlers because it's like a tag, I know it's a Tornado Tag, but I don't want 4 people in the fucking ring, but I want the logo to represent a logo for everybody. You know what I mean? Like we support women's wrestling, we support luchador wrestling, we support, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that we don't support men's wrestling, but let's be honest, like they've been on the forefront for a long time.
Men's wrestling doesn't need support.
Exactly.
Men's wrestling doing just fine.
Yeah, and listen, if the logo represents the German suplex that was happened that night, then sure, so be it. That's where I kind of got my idea from. Was you guys.
Man,
yeah,
I give full permission. Use the likeness. Go ahead.
Yeah. But it would be that'd be really fun. I would like that a lot. But yeah. So
I'll send you a link to his stuff after the interview.
Perfect. Yeah. Do you have a Teespring or anything up like for you, or like how can people buy your merch?
I don't have Teespring. I have a Pro Wrestling Tees store though. ProWrestlingTees.com/NotoriousKIT. I have 4 designs up right now, all done by Jacob Paul as well.
Oh man, I listen. I can't stand you already. No, I'm joking. But no, every time
is it the Jason ones?
No. Every time I click on Pro Wrestling Tees, the first thing that pops up is like a T-shirt I fall in love with, and it's a Cody Rhodes. It's the new. It says "We Are All Family," and it's a rainbow Cody Rhodes shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
yeah, I saw
God.
that one. That's nice.
Fucking this goddamn company. I think there's a package at my house. I already ordered this Inner Circle Stadium Stampede Losers shirt that when they're selling for $12.50. Like, just I can't.
That's so smart.
It's so smart. It's amazing. Yeah.
They're marketing geniuses for that.
Yeah, I do remember the Jason logo one. I think that's the one I'm kind of leaning towards. If that's probably the one I'm going to order. Now,
I love those ones.
Here's a quick question. Actually, never mind. On the side there, when people, it shows like the Twitter feeds when people tag this shirts. That's awesome. What made you go to smoking? Yeah, like, well, not for you, but just in general. It just has, I bought this T-shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees or whatever.
Yeah, cool.
What made you go with the cat smoking?
Okay, so I'm a really, really big Kill Bill fan.
You know
I don't know
what?
if you're familiar with those movies.
The where she pulls the girl's eye out with the.
Yeah.
Wasn't she the Black Mamba?
The Black Mamba was yes.
Yep.
Elle Driver, her name was.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I always thought she was a really fascinating character. And then one day I was watching Kill Bill 2 with my cat, because as I do, sitting in my lap, and the scene popped up where she gives Bill's brother the suitcase full of money, and then he opens the suitcase and that snake's inside and bites him, and he's on the floor, you know, all withering in pain and stuff, and she just sits on the couch and pulls out this little notepad and starts like giving him facts about the snake that just bit him and what's going to happen, just very calmly. It's amazing. And she was smoking the cigarette. And I remember, I don't know why. I can't actually give a reason why, but like I just looked at her smoking the cigarette, and I looked down at my cat, and I was like, "You guys kind of look alike." And ever since then, I've just been like, my plan was just for my next set of gear that I didn't have. I wore it at the GSW show that night.
Yeah.
My plan was just to have her on the side like that. And then when I got that gear made, people just was like, "Oh, that's so cool. That's so different." I was like, well, maybe I could just make merch out of it. Now it's my stickers, it's my shirt, it's pretty much just like my logo.
And it fits your character's personality too. Like, I'm not saying that you're like a guy who smokes, but you kind of have that, like, I don't know, like that cool dude vibe, like kind of like a badass greaser type dude. I don't know. It's a cool.
Yeah, that's what I go for. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm literally putting my cart together as we speak. So thanks for that.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I got my.
Of course.
And then of course when I order a pro wrestling tees, I cannot not get the mystery T-shirt for $10. I don't know if you ever do that.
Oh no, I have.
Every single mystery shirt I've ever gotten from them has been absolutely fucking fantastic.
I've only done it twice, and the 2 shirts I have gotten have been amazing. I got Cliff Compton's Nigerian Gangster shirt, which is just like a picture of Cliff holding an AK-47.
Yeah.
And then I got like the old school Andre the Giant Obey style logo, but it was like the Scott Hall shirt. It said "Hey yo" instead of Obey.
I love it.
So
yeah, I got the first one I got was when SCU did their press conference for the beginning of Jacksonville at Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium. So it says worst town ever, the worst town I've ever been to, and it's all in the Jacksonville Jaguars colors. So I was like, this is like the birth of AEW shirt, because they were the first ones to come out and do the press conference. Like when they did the press conference, they were the first team to represent like the brand, and I was like, that's the first shirt, you know what I mean? Like first tag team champs and everything. So I was like, well, that's like, this shirt is the birth of AEW to me. So like I got that in a mystery shirt. I got a British Bulldog one, and then I just got a freshly squeezed, the orange freshly squeezed with the thumbs up shirt.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that were my 3 mystery shirts. I was like, this is fucking, I'll always do it. But yeah, I ordered the Slasher Kitty one. I was torn between that and the 3D one, but the 3D ones hurt my eyes, even though I think they look cool. So I just went with the normal black.
The only thing I don't like about the 3D one is it's on a white shirt, and I hate white shirts.
It would look good on black, I think.
It does. See, I tried it on black at first.
Yeah.
It doesn't look the same on black. Like it looks. You wouldn't, like with the white one, you could look at it and you could be like, oh, that's supposed to be like 3D looking.
Yeah.
The black one, it just kind of looks like it's blue and red.
I want to do a shirt that it kind of has like a pinkish orange, like it's still like almost a white colored shirt, but it looks like pink or orange on it, because like and this may sound like morbid or gross, but like I also love horror movies. But you know how like when like
you're talking to a horror fanatic.
You know how like when
fanatic.
you like also when I used to get beat up a lot, so I got punched in the you got blood on a t-shirt or a white t-shirt, and when you wash it and it like you wash it, but it kind of comes out like pinkish orange color.
Yep.
Like, so imagine a white shirt with like looks like splats all over it, and then your logo.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I think that would be a dope
shirt. I might actually steal that idea.
Do it, please do, and tell me, and I'll add to my collection.
I will for sure.
Nice.
But yeah, dude, I'm a horror fanatic, like absolutely. That's why obviously I got the the Friday the 13th inspired shirts. That's why I did the 3D shirt, because Friday the 13th Part 3, one of my favorites.
Yeah,
one of my favorites of all time.
I like horror movies, but I would come off as a giant poser because my wife is a horror movie junkie. Like she watches so much on Netflix and Hulu to the point where she's like, "Can we get Shudder?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, you can get Shudder." Yeah,
Shudder is amazing. I love Shudder.
That's all she does. She just watches.
I actually ended up.
If she's watching a movie, it's a horror movie.
Hulu.
Really?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I ended up canceling Hulu because I watched everything on there, and I got Shudder, and I didn't want to pay for all these things at once.
She just watched this one.
Shudder's way more important to me than Hulu.
She just watched this one where it's like a Japanese style movie, and there's like this monster, and it was released in the sewers, and then it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't know. She just talked about it. Yeah, that's all she does. She watches horror movies. She's a junkie. She does like horror movie art. Like she does little art projects, and she does like a movie quote, and then she'll paint it onto a canvas, and then kind of make it look cool. So she has one that says, "When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth," because we're big Dead on the Dead fans and stuff. But yeah,
hell yeah,
yeah. She's super.
I know you're the interviewer, but I have to ask, what would you consider your favorite horror franchise of all time?
Franchise. All right, franchise is tough.
Yes.
One of my favorite horror movies, but I can't. I mean, the franchise is good. You know what? Maybe franchise-wise, I think it may hold up. Sorry, I used to be a Halloween fan. When I was a kid, Michael Myers was my shit. And then I got older and I rewatched the franchise, and the franchise sucks. It's one of the worst movie franchises ever because the continuity is all over the place. Characters are dead in one movie, then come back in the next movie, and they still named it Halloween 7.
We can dive into this one.
Yeah.
Halloween is my favorite franchise too.
Oh my
and
they rebooted that franchise 4 times.
It's still good though.
Yes.
And didn't tell nobody.
You have to listen. You have to, but now we know. Like right now, I know every timeline. So if I watch, there's Halloween movies that I can openly admit are absolutely horrible, but I could still find enjoyment out of them. You know, and depending on I'll go on the record and say that the timeline of 2, 4, 5, and 6 is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
The original, amazing. The newest one, I loved it.
What about Zombies? Part 1, because Part 2 was horrible.
So, okay, thank you. Yes, I think Zombies Part 2 is the worst Halloween movie ever made.
Yeah.
But I understand why it was so bad. I enjoy his remake. I think as long as you go into it knowing that it's a remake from Rob Zombie,
would you like to
can't really be disappointed.
My wife walked in because she heard me talking now. She could hear you through my headphones, so she's just shaking her head in agreement. I was like, would you like a microphone, hon?
Hell yeah. Yeah, join up. I do love his remake. I like how they kind of dived into the childhood a lot more. I just think it's interesting, you know, but still, you know, that's not my Halloween, but I could still watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
The second one, worst movie ever made in the Halloween wise ever. But I also understand why it was horrible. A lot of people don't know.
Even John Carpenter didn't want to make that movie.
Well, the thing is, a lot of people don't know this for some reason. Rob Zombie never had any intention of making a part 2.
Oh, I thought you were talking about John Carpenter's part 2 as well. Yeah, but yeah, I agree with that too.
Oh no, I don't mind the original part 2.
He didn't want to make it. And then when they said you're going to do part 4, he's like, I tried everything in my power to kill him in part 2. Like, that's why I had him shot in both eyes and exploded.
Yeah. Well, you should. Well, I mean, because they were supposed to. That was supposed to be the end. It's like 3 had nothing to do with Myers. Yeah. It was supposed to be like.
And three is not a bad movie. If you as a movie it's a great movie. But it just as a like if you walk in expecting Michael Myers, you're going to be disappointed. Yeah.
That commercial song still gets stuck in my head every once in a while. I just think of it. How many days till Halloween?
Yeah. So I would say franchise-wise, I think my favorite franchise is going to be Scream. I'm a big Scream fan.
Very okay. I can respect that.
I always like Scream. Shut up. No, I used to love Nightmare on Elm Street, but when it comes to like an overall franchise, Freddy to me is someone you're rooting for the whole movie to kill these kids. He's funny. He's entertaining. He's not scary. He's not. It's not. I don't see Freddy movies as hard. And when they remade Freddy and everyone hated it, I was like, I liked it because Freddy was scary again.
I did see. I watched the remake. I don't shit on it like most people do. It just wasn't. I kind of look at it the same way I look at the Rob Zombie Halloween movies.
Yeah,
like I could enjoy it, but it's not my Freddy.
not my president. Not my Freddy.
Not my president, not my Freddy.
I like how they made him scary again. That was important for me.
No, like I get what they were going for. I don't think they should have recast him. I didn't like the casting choice. That was the only gripe I actually have with the movie.
Yeah. Well, supposedly he wants to do the character again.
He should.
Yeah.
He's still around. That's why I was so confused. Just like he's still around. He's not super old. Like he could still move.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm more of a I like slash. Like my wife's a slasher person. She loves slasher movies. She likes Babysitter Killers. That's her thing. I'm more of a monster guy. I'm a monster fan.
That's fair.
So I'm more of a like put a big monster in a city and the city's getting destroyed or some type of creature. I'm all about that. That's my style. Or I really really like psychological stuff. Like recently, a horror movie that really, really caught my attention that I just absolutely loved. It Follows was I love that movie.
Yes.
The Babadook was awesome.
Yes.
We just watched one called Midsummer, which was awesome.
Never seen that one.
It's all about like these kids go to Sweden to go visit this guy's like where he grew up, and it's all like pagans, and they're gonna go do their college thesis on this pagan village, and it just turns into just a fucking nightmare.
Ooh, is that on Netflix?
Amazon Prime.
I have to check that out. Oh, okay, I got that too.
Yeah. So I like stuff like that too. What do you point at? Okay. So I like stuff like that, but all right. Well, we'll wrap up here with what the last question is. I'm all about speaking things into existence. You got to wrestle some great people, so we'll start with this one. Who are some of your favorite matches, or some of your favorite people you worked with?
Are we talking just this area, or like
anywhere?
I've wrestled all over the country. Okay.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Well, I'll start in this area. This area, I really did, as I said, I enjoyed the match with Adina. That was the first time we worked, and I really would like to have, like, even like we could do like a best of series.
That'd be fantastic.
Something like that.
Yeah. You know what was awesome about her too, real quick, just to kind of put her over more? Her with this whole COVID thing, she's working her ass off. Like I can't wait to see her work pay off. Like she is shredded right now. She's killing it.
I'm telling you right now, like, I'm just going to go on the record, and I hope she doesn't hear this, and I hope she doesn't let it get to her head, but I have to say it. Adina is going to be signed before a lot of, my circle is probably.
I would agree with that.
I truly, truly believe that she's going to be somewhere not too long from now either.
I would 100% agree with that.
She has incredible drive. She works harder than most of the guys I know, and the most important thing about her is she's very moldable and teachable.
Yeah.
So she's going to go far.
Her wrestling is catching up to everything that like the things that you can't teach someone, she has in abundance. It's her drive, her work ethic, her mind state, her ability to learn and soak up and be a sponge, and that's stuff you can't teach, and she already has it. Now her wrestling ability is catching up to that because of everything that we just talked about previously, where she's willing to do all that. So when it comes to people getting signed, I would 100%. And plus with the women's divisions now all over the place, and she could easily fit right into any of those divisions.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. What company do you think she would strive in the best?
Like mainstream company right now?
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I feel like she would have. I feel like she could find success in any of the four big ones.
Yeah.
But if I just like from the little bit I've worked with her, I think she might be most comfortable in the WWE setting.
Yeah.
I only say that because they expect a lot out of their performers. They're on the road like 5 to 6 days a week. The training classes that are mandatory to go to down at the Performance Center. And I feel like some people struggle with that, but I don't think that that's something that she would ever have an issue with.
I think that's where she would shine, because she would
exactly
where other people, where other humans just don't have that drive and that fortitude, is where she would shine, and they'd be like, all right, she's putting the time in. You know what I mean? Right.
So I would have to say, just from like the performance center aspect of WWE, I think she'd really, really find her footing there.
I'd agree. Yeah, 100%. So other matches, other people that you enjoyed working with.
My favorite opponent of all time will always be Trajan Horn, who I'm sure has been put over numerous times on this podcast.
That's the daddy, baby.
Yeah, man. I mean, I remember when that kid started, and every match I've ever had with him, we just have this. I have an incredible chemistry with Trajan that I can honestly say I've never had with any other opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So I get like giddy almost when I know I'm wrestling Trajan, because I know it's going to be just amazing. And like real life, Trajan's one of my best friends.
I get giddy when I see him on a card that I'm going to. that's, I'm like, I'm in for a show.
Yeah. I always enjoy working with him. I know he's always going to like command the best out of me, and he command the best out of him. Just always fun working with him.
He's such a creative dude too. Like, he has good ideas.
He does. He really does.
Like, I feel like he could be someone too, like later on down the road. Like, not only does he kind of resemble him a little bit, but like he could be a Joey Janela. Like, I feel like one day, if he ever really wants to, like if he was like a promoter of a company, or like was in charge of creativity or writing, he would kill it. Like, his show, his stuff would be very entertaining to be a part of.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. When he was first coming up and we'd be hanging out, that's all he would do is just spitball ideas to me, and some of them are completely outrageous. But I mean, you see,
but they're awesome.
Shit that Janela has done. Yes.
And that's why I said he could be a Janela. Sometimes. Yeah, he would be. He has a balance. He knows that there's a place for everything in wrestling.
It's a very good comparison.
Yeah.
Another person I really love working, Ace Austin. Mm-hmm. Ace Austin is fucking a professional through and through, even before, he was on TV and stuff.
Family guy too, man. I seen right before he got signed, I seen him wheeling out his grandmother out of the arena and just hanging out with her and just getting her to the car, make sure she was good. Like, and then like 2 weeks later, he was signed to Impact. Like, just overall good dude.
Mm-hmm. Dude is very, very solid. Trying to think, is there anybody else I didn't work that I would like to at least? Mad Max Morrison. That's one.
He's a nut.
He is, man. I have friends who have known him for a couple years. I actually just met him.
Oh, you'd fall in love with him as a horror movie fan too.
Oh no, we definitely hit it off quick. I met him at an Eclipse wrestling show, I think in like January.
Mm-hmm.
And I just from talking to him and seeing his work, I feel like our styles would really work well together.
Yeah.
I never got a chance to do it. I don't know how long he's been doing this, but like I said, I was in Cali for like 2 years. So there's a lot of guys in the area that I really like. I just haven't had a chance to actually work with. Like Adina was one of them.
Yeah. Actually,
when I moved to California, Adina wasn't even training yet, I don't think.
Yeah, I just remembered something. So I remember I asked, this is one of the questions I asked Trajan. So people who've already listened, if they listen to the other interviews, they know this. But because of the timeline, you haven't heard it yet. So I said, Trajan, I said, you're the daddy of the galaxy. So you are Star-Lord. I need you to put together the rest of your galaxy, your Guardians of the Daddy Galaxy. And he picked.
Did he fucking make me Rocket Raccoon?
He nailed it. I think he said Brad is his Drax, Adina is his Gamora. I forget who he said his Groot is, but you were 100% Rocket. And I was like,
I feel it.
I was like, that's pretty accurate. I like it a lot.
It's a very good comparison. He's smart. He would have made Keita Murray Groot.
Yeah. I was like, man, that should be a T-shirt. That should be a T-shirt. The Daddies of the Galaxy. Like, whatever promotion wants to build that as a stable, that would be fantastic.
Hell yeah. I'm for it.
The Daddies of the Galaxy.
I love me some Bradley Cooper.
Nice. So anything else you want to get off or talk about before we get out of here?
I did want to talk about some West Coast guys.
Sure,
that
absolutely.
I feel they're. I had a lot of plans to be bringing guys out here before all of this stuff started happening, because there's so many guys in the West Coast who are just absolutely incredible performers who we've never even heard of, out here. Jody Christopherson, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Christopherson's son, he worked for NXT for a couple years back in like the Dusty days. So he has so much knowledge from training under guys like Dusty and like Shawn Michaels and all these different people. And he's just absolutely fantastic to work with. I feel like he doesn't get enough credit. I want to bring him out here. Rick Luxury, who is the head trainer at East Bay Pro Wrestling in Pacheco, California. He is, without a shadow of the doubt, the greatest person wrestling-wise I have ever had the privilege to call a match with. He's one of those vets that really, really gets the business. So he has a way that he could just make it easy for all involved. And he's legally blind, and he's a better performer than like half the guys I know. So that's saying something within itself. Yes. Yeah. And lastly, Gino Rivera. I believe he works out of New Mexico in the Arizona area. Absolutely incredible performer, always professional, always trying to like spout knowledge at guys on Facebook in the locker rooms. But those are 3 people you should definitely look forward to me bringing out here once all this stuff settles down. I'll definitely put on a good show for you.
Awesome. Perfect. So
had to put over the West Coast boys.
I appreciate it. I'm always about trying to learn more about guys in the independent scene. But we'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up there with Tornado Tag Podcast. Kit, thank you so much, man. It was an absolute pleasure. Exactly everything that I thought this was going to be. It was. I had a great time. Yeah. I cannot wait for this to all blow over. We can hang out and have some beers together. I would love nothing more. And then go see some pro wrestling somewhere. You guys, like I said, check out the links below if you want to go buy your Kit Raff merchandise, the sweet ass logos he's got going on. Check out the links below.
All proceeds go to my cat.
Yep, you're keeping a cat on catnip. You're helping his addiction.
Hell yeah, we call it Raff nip.
Raff nip. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time with Tornado Tag Podcast. We're out.